It's been a long time coming from the SC, South Carolina, baby. Sometimes it feels like the world is against me.
Hi guys, thank you for tuning in. Today is going to be a video about how to apply your nail forms to your nail and how to apply the application once you get the nail forms on the nail. So today I'll be using this Mia's Secret nail form because I'm going to be using this practice hand here. It does have smaller nail bed areas, so we're going to show you how to just place the form even if you're doing it on your own hand or someone else's hand. Okay, so today I'm going to be using the Legacy Nail Liquid, no MMA, low odor. So this will take a little bit of time to cure, and to help speed up that process, I'm just going to drop a little bit of acetone into my monomer dish once I get the liquid inside, to help speed up the drying process of the powder, because when you're putting it on the form, you don't want to have to chase it so much. So I'm also going to be using this Legacy Nail Essential Cover Nude. This is a cover nude acrylic. It's a cover powder, and the reason for using this powder is so that you can see it on the nail form better than if I used a clear or a very light pink. So I'm just going to take my monomer here, and I like the Legacy because it have this little spout here. So I'm just going to take it and put a little bit into this dampen dish here, and I'm using the Alpha Brush number 8 Oval Kolinsky to do the application. So I'm just going to set that here to the side, and I'm going to go ahead and open up my powder here. Okay, so I wanted to show you the process from start to finish, so I jumped the gun a little bit like I always do. So I'm going to use my coarse barrel. It's like a 5-in-1, not barrel, but coarse 5-in-1. Not coarse either. It's a fine 5-in-1 drill bit to clean around the cuticles. Something you would do your nail prep, but since it's my practice hand, I'm just really roughing up the surface of my practice hand nail beds that I created on this finger to give my acrylic and my application something to adhere to. So what I'm doing here is I'm spreading out the fingers of the practice hand, and I'm just going to go around the cuticle area here. Let me just move my monomer. Even though I have the lid on top, I still want to move it out the way. And we're just going to rough up the surface here and make sure everything is even. I haven't practiced on this practice hand since school. So this is, I guess it's been almost a year now. About to be a year since I started school. So yeah. I always have her just hanging up on the wall. So I'm just roughing her up a little bit. Or roughing up her nail plate just a little bit. And smoothing it out. Because I created the nail bed on this practice hand, I definitely want to smooth it out and make sure it's a nice level, because I'm going to be applying more acrylic on top of acrylic, because that's what I use to create the nail beds to this practice hand. And I probably won't do all the fingers, but I'm roughing up all the fingers anyway. We're really just going to do 3 fingers because I don't want this to be a long process, and I'm not the fastest of them all. Okay. So after I do that, I'm just going to take my brush here that I use just on my practice hands only, and I'm just going to dust off this dust that I created while filing those beads. Okay, so what you want to do is, see, this is why you got to keep your powder closed, because that dust will get in your powder and your monomer. Okay, so what you want to do is dehydrate the nail plate, and you can use, because this is a practice hand, I'm just going to use pure alcohol just to do the dehydration of the nail plate, because of course a practice hand is not going to acquire oils like a natural nail will, but I'm still just going through the steps in the process to show you when applying the nail forms that you have to still do your same cuticle work as well on your hand as you would when you're applying tips on your hand. So you want to make sure you do that same work. So we're going to apply the first nail form here on the middle finger here. So what you do with your nail forms is, you see these grooves here, this little line down here, these are called markers. And on this marker here, it says 1, 2, 3, 1 small, 2 medium, small, large, extra large, and then I guess like an extra large, right? But I'm not going to do a long application on this form. I just want to show you how to apply the form. So you take the tab here and you stick the tab onto your skin here. And you want to fold your nail form down the center here of your markers, because this marker will help you center your nail form to your finger. Okay, so if you have a high hyponychium area, you could use a hole puncher or even a pair of nail clippers to pinch the nail form here to open up the space, so when you maneuvering it in the hand, it's not hurting so much once you apply that pressure to seal the form. So here is the guides that you want to follow. You have the guide here, and this will even allow you to shape your nails. So for this form, I could do a square shape, I can do a coffin shape, I can do a stiletto shape, I can do an oval shape, or I can do a round shape. So that's what those things are there. That's just to guide you on how you want to properly form your nail with the nail form. Okay, so I'm just going to press the edges here, and then I'm going to remove the nail form from this paper backing here. And once I do that, I want to take this piece, and most people will stick this piece here, and you can stick that piece there if you had low nail beds, like if you was a nail biter and you're trying to create a nail and you need to be able to place the nail form on the nail because you don't have any nail to catch under there. You can use it for that. But because of the training that I required at school, we're going to take this form and place it in the center here of the nail form. We're going to take this little tab here. I'm sorry, my nails are so long and I'm not able to do it like I would do it if I had no nails. And so I'm going to stick it in the center here of this, and I'm just going to put my hand there, and I'm going to take these two wings here, this wing and this wing, and I'm going to put those two wings together. So you want to make sure that those wings are together before you even place it on your nail. So you want to make sure that though these wings all are the same evenness and together, right, before placing it on to the nail. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up the nail form, because you don't want it to stick. And these things have a tendency, once you start sticking, they want to stick everywhere. So I'm going to open up the nail form here, and then I'm going to slide it on the finger. And what you want to do is you want to bring the nail form down, get it into the groove of the finger, just like so, right? You want to make sure that it's even with you want to make sure it's even with your nail. And I'm going to try to see if you can see what I'm talking about on my nail. So you want to get it to the center of your nail here. And you want to make sure those grooves that I told you about, those guides, are lined up on your finger before closing your form. So I'm going to turn the hand this way because it's easier for me to do it this way. So if I was doing a client, I would have to do it the way that I would do for my client. But I'm just doing a practice hand to demonstrate how to apply the form. So I'm going to take the form here and I'm going to center it into the groove. And now looking at it, this nail don't have much of a nail either. So I could have used the tab. But anyway, so you want to center it as much as you can. You want to make sure that line is centered into this form. So these tabs have a tendency to want to pop away. So what you do is when you take it down, you rock it up and you secure it under the nail, right? So now that I've secured it under the nail there, I want to take these tabs and I want to press, and these things have a tendency to always come apart. It don't matter who is on, if it's on a human or a practice hand, but you want to make sure that these little wings are together. Okay, so you got those wings together and you pinch the top here. Okay, and before you close your tabs here, you want to make sure that the tab underneath is secure and closed. And that's going to cause a little bit of pressure to your client. Sometimes the nails can be, the hand can be bigger than the form. So you want to make sure that you're asking your client, is that okay? How do that feel? But it is going to cause some little pressure here on the clients underneath the, where the hyponychium is at. So that's what this come in handy for when you have a client that have a high hyponychium. Okay, so now that we have the form on, you're just going to pinch and secure the form down underneath here. So you want to pinch the form to make sure it's secure to the finger where it's not going to move when you start the application, right? And you want to make sure it's centered as much as possible. And you pinch here to where you want, however long you want your length for your nails. So I don't want to do it very long, but I want to give myself room to play, right? So that's how you apply the form to the finger. And once you apply the form to the finger, some people like to take this wing here and just twist it up, because when you land it down, the practice hand down, it don't always want to be as secure as you want it to. And what I'm doing is I'm looking for a bottle to raise my hand on, right? So I can do this process for you guys. So I'm just going to lay the finger up on this bottle, prop this hand up on this bottle, just like so. And then I'm going to prime the top of the nail here. So once you got the forms on, then you could take your primer, and I'm just going to use some of my JC Beauty Concept Primer. And you prime just the natural nail at the form of the finger before starting the application. Okay, so once you do that, then you can begin application, right? So we're going to take our brush here and we're going to put it in the monomer, and we're going to get all those bubbles out that is created to get the air out of the brush and the bristles. And just got to form your brush, mold your brush, and make sure it's in the right, just clean the brush going back and forth, okay? So I'll stick it in here. Now I still can see I got bubbles, so I'm going to get all these bubbles out, and then I'm just going to lightly tap here and pull the monomer out. So with that, I'm going to turn my brush and I'm going to tap, 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 and take it into the monomer. So you see the bead is good and it's not dry. It's pretty good. So you're going to take your first bead You're going to place it where the form and the form and the free edge of your nail meets, right? So now you want to start using these guides. And this, like I told you, this monomer has a slow setting, and I like a slow setting monomer, especially for me as a new beginner to acrylics and nails. It gives me time to work with it. So you want to use the guide to bring it to the nail. So you want to form that placement on the nail, guiding the acrylic where you want it to go, but also creating the creating yourself a structured foundation for the nail, right? So I'm just patting, and I'm moving, and I'm making sure that I am creating myself a foundation. So if you wanted your nail longer, you just apply more acrylic down here at the tip, and we can do that. But right now I'm just using that first cuticle bead in the center, and that's mostly where your strength is going to come from, in your apex area right here. So by starting with your bead there, you're building structure on your nail already, and building up the apex, starting to build that apex already. Okay, so with that, you have your guide here for your nails, and you see that dent there. You can straighten that if you're not going to add any more acrylic and you just want it at that bead size. At that tip size. But I'm going to add just a little bit more to make it a little bit longer. Okay, so here I'm just dipping my brush back into the monomer, and I'm just going to turn and tap, 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 and I'm just going to take a little bit of that monomer out of my brush, and I'm just going to take that bead and come here at the tip where I'm creating my I'm sorry, my mind went blank for a second. My free edge of the nail, the tip. So I'm chasing my acrylic on each side. I'm watching the grooves and making sure my grooves and my form is the way I want, how I want my nail. And you can make your application perfect, but when you're starting out, you can always, if your application is not perfect, because mine is never perfect, I shape really well. So if you shape really well, you can get your form right where you need it to be. You know, you can't. I want to be as good as some of these other ladies out here, but I'll get there with practice. But right now, I do the best I know how to do to create a good nail for my client and for myself that I'll be able to rock, wear, and get compliments on. So I don't think I'm doing that bad. Okay. So I'm just going to smooth out the acrylic there. And if you want your acrylic to dry faster, like I said, you can put some acetone into your monomer so you don't have to do a whole lot of chasing your monomer. Chasing your monomer. I'm sorry, chasing your bead. Okay. So you take it, dip, and now you're going to start to form the nail. So I'm going in and I'm getting me a nice bead here. And then I'm going to come up and I'm going to place this bead right above that first bead, but not at the cuticle. Not yet. I don't want to. If you want to do a 2-bead method, you probably could. But I guess you see I'm doing a 4-bead method pretty much. And I'm just going to use what I need, where I need it at. So you want to make sure that the acrylic is where you want it to be, pushing the acrylic up, and it's getting as close to that cuticle area, but making sure you cleaning up the sides, making sure your sides of your nail is good, that you're not getting the overflow and getting the product on the skin. So you want to clean that up here, right? Okay. So that's what I like about the slow setting monomer. You have to chase it. That's the negative side of it. But it also gives you room to make mistakes, fix it, clean it up, and get it to the place you want it to be. And I got this legacy product I purchased at my nail school when I was graduating. But you can also order it on Amazon. And if I find the link, I'll make sure I link it down in the description for you if you like what you see. Okay. So right there you see the line of demarcation, but you can always clear that up when you do you do your clear or you do your filing. Okay. So I'm going to place another bead there anyway, so hopefully we can get that straightened out. Okay. And I just keep wiping until I kind of smooth out that acrylic. Smooth it out. Smooth it out. Okay. So as you're looking at the nail, you want to look at the nail from every side of the nail, right? So you want to make sure, you want to see where you need more acrylic at if you're building your apex. And I know right now I really have just built structure on that nail. I'm building up my apex a little, but I'm building more of a foundation and a structure for the nail right now. Okay. So now here comes the cuticle bead, right? So I want to take my brush. I'm going to pull all of my monomer out of my brush because I want the smallest bead. I'm just going to tap one time and pick up a bead here. And then I'm going to take it onto my paper towel to pull out some more of that moisture. And now I'm going to place the bead. Now I'm going to start pressing up on the bead. Pressing it around the cuticle where I want it to go. Press, press, press. And pull or drag. When they say press, 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 drag, or pull. So I want to get it in the cuticle area. And sometimes it's a hit or miss for me with the cuticle. That was my main reason for wanting to go to school. It's because I was like, I can never get this right. But it takes practice. It really does. And you'll find out, that not all your clients want to do acrylic. Acrylic is the first go-to of most nail techs. But a lot of clients now, they into the gel. They into something quick process, the dips, and things of that nature. So not a lot of times I get to do a practice with acrylic. So it's always... I feel like I'm learning all over again. I'm just trying to remember those steps that I learned in school and try to apply them to my everyday practice with my clients. So now that I have the acrylic laid here, we're just taking the groove of the nail. And I'm just going to build up the nail. So I can use the powder to build up the nail to get a nice apex. I'm not going to put much on there. What I'm going to do is just take where I know I need it. Get me a nice bead. And I'm just going to place it here in the center. I'm going to drop that bead there. Right? And then I'm just going to work and play with that bead. Right? I'm going to pull it down. I'm going to drag it to get my bead a little bit more wet because it was a little dry. Didn't have enough moisture. So I'm just going to play and drag. I'm not going to put too much to the cuticle area. But I'm just going to put enough so I can build that apex, right? Okay. And I'm looking at my tip, and I want to make sure my tip is going to have a nice thickness so I can see that my tip is just a little bit thin, but I do want it thin. I don't want it really, really thick. So I'm just going to take a small bead here, and I'm just going to place it there. And I'm just going to work it down, right? I'm going to pat, pat, pat. Pat, pat, pat. Okay. And now that I have that done, how I like it, and I kind of like my apex here. The apex is a little high for me, and I don't really like my nails to be really thick. I want them to look as natural as possible. So I'm going to look down the barrel of the nail. I'm going to look to the side, and I can see that one side of my nail is just a little bit higher than the other side. So I'm just going to place a small acrylic bead here, and I'm just going to work it to build up that strength so it'll be more balanced. Okay. All right. So now we can look at it from the side. Got a nice little apex there. The sides are looking together. Okay. And remember, this hand already had acrylic on the nail bed, because that's what I used to create the nail beds, was acrylic. Okay. So I was gonna do two, but I think one showing with one sculpted nail will be good. If you have any questions or you want to see this process done again, feel free to ask me to do it again. And you want more nail forms used, I can do that as well. What we're going to do is I'm just going to put my products. I'm sorry, guys, I got the hiccups. Just had dinner before I sat down at this table. So I'm gonna put my things away while my hand is drying, because this is a slow setting monomer. It's not gonna dry right away, so you're not gonna hear the click, click, click. You're gonna have to give it a minute to let it dry. Okay, so I'm just gonna put my things that I can put away. I'm just gonna put those things away. That way I can show you how to remove the form and what you need to be able to see, and then I can let you guys go, because I don't think I have to worry about the shaping and filing, because we're not doing a design. What this was is just a quick tutorial on how to apply your form and how to build your nail with the form. Okay, so I got these from school, but these are Mia's Secret. So I'm sure you probably could find them either on Mia's Secret's website, or you could even at www.miasecretnails.com, or you can find them on Amazon probably. I think Mia's Secret actually have another type form now. I don't know if they still have these. I got these at school, but I will go and link some forms for you. Legacy also have nail forms as well. So I got these from a friend, but I'm sure you can get them off of Legacy Nails professional website. You may need license in order to purchase if you purchase on their site, but I think you might can find some on Amazon probably. And these, I know I got these off of Amazon. And I don't know who their brand is. It was just, I think it was a bundle of 100 nail forms. So if I find them, I'll link it into the cards. But I have different kinds. I have the model ones as well, which they're not bad. They're just not the go-to of mine. I don't just go to them. They're not who I just use off bat. I'm just cleaning my brush and making sure I got all of the monomer and is no buildup in my brush. And yeah, so that turned out pretty good. Not a lot of acrylic in the brush, so that's a good thing. And I love alpha brushes. I don't have enough of them. I think I have 2, and I love those. I've had them since my journey started, and I really love alpha brushes. They are expensive, and that's probably why I only have 2, but they worth the money. They are worth the money. All right, so now you want to take you can take the end of your brush and tap, and you hear that click, click, click. That means your acrylic is dry. So now you can remove the nail form. So how you want to remove your nail form? You don't want to just rip it off, because if you just rip the nail form off, you're going to end up losing probably your tip all of what you built. So you want to be very gentle in ripping your nail form off, because you still need to file it. You still need to do all those nice things that you plan to do with your nail. So I'm going to just take a cuticle stick here, and I'm just going to break this part here. And sometimes, because I put it to the skin so tight, I'm not going to be able to get it under there because this is a plastic hand. But if it was my client, I probably could get it under there and just pop it, right? Because these really do secure to the trainer, right? So I want to just take this off of my practice hand, and I'm going to pinch the form here, right? So I'm going to pinch. I'm sorry. I got this thing on there pretty good. So I want to pinch the form until I create pocket of air to be able to release the form from the nail, right? So I'm pulling it down from here, from the nail, and I'm just going to gently remove it from my client's finger. So this is the practice hand, and it just kind of stuck. The plastic kind of stuck because these things, they got a real good backing. So I'll get that off later. Don't have time to do that right now. I'll clean her up in a little bit. So here you see, after taking off the nail form, you see that it gives this nice C curve to the nail. You could take your cuticle, you could take your nail clippers and clip that part off, or you could use your hand file to straighten that up and clean that up. So here you see that you have your side walls. They're pretty sturdy. You have your side walls here, and you have your free edge, your tip here. So it's about credit card thin, and it's very, very nice. So it gives that beautiful C curve to that nail that you like. And then you have your structure. So you will file and shape and do all those good things, and that nail will turn out perfect. And then you can polish and do all the things you like to do. So yes, this is how you apply nail forms, how you put the product on the nail. I hope this tutorial helps someone if you wanted to practice using forms. I love forms. I think forms are, quick, easy, simple, just as simple as tips. It just takes practice with forms. That's the one thing that I wanted to learn the most of, because that's what I really wanted to just do. I really wanted to just be a nail artist that sculpt the nail instead of having to use the tips. But it's not also convenient when you're just as slow as I am as a nail tech. But I'll get better, and I'll still offer this service as well to my clients. So, all right. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, hit that thumbs up. Comment down below. Tell me what else you would like for me to do, or whatever you would like for me to see, from me. And yeah, and subscribe, because subscribing helps my channel to grow, and it helps me to get more content out to you. So thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your night. Bye.